Just going to everyone's journey is always important. What's gotten them to the stage that they're in, what challenges they face, problems. It's 2020 now. It's 17 years since I finished school. I look back now at my 15-year-old as he enters the junior cert and the importance that holds, or maybe lack of importance that holds. It all depends on what your viewpoint is on it, but the pressure obviously heaped on to do well, because if you don't, you can't get a job, etc. I know there's a change in America now to do with colleges, and because of the cost of colleges, that not as many people will go. College is not for everybody. I went to college part-time, so when I finished school in 2003, I did a 4-year part-time business and law degree. To be brutally honest, I didn't really pay a huge amount of attention to really what I wanted to do. I did school. I completed leaving cert quite well, did okay. Didn't fail anything, and got basically one of my first choices. So I look back and think, so only 2 days ago put all my college books into, I'm kind of moving house at the moment, and we took all of the college books and I put them up in the office. Yeah, I said, well, what do you want to do with them? Put them in the office, sir. I said, I'll stick them up in the office. And I kind of thought to myself, I'm putting these books up in the office, but I don't know how many times I've ever actually opened those books. 4th year of college, I probably attended the least amount out of all of the years. And almost found it disinteresting in college. So I think a lot of lecturers and they teach business from the book, but what is their experience in building a business? What is their experience in running a business? So when I finished in 2003, went into college 2003 to 2007, did a 4-year part-time degree. In that time I started in finance, worked in Bank of Ireland branch banking for a year. I then wanted to do mortgage sales. I was told that I didn't have grey enough hair. I was 19 years of age in order to be selling mortgages. So I went to the Irish, was actually that time I went into the Bank of Ireland and ICS mortgage business in Century House in town. I was there for a year on the phones, call centre, learning. Again, I wanted to get into mortgages again, so opportunity wasn't there in Bank of Ireland, so I went to Irish Mortgage Corporation, where I spent nearly 3 very happy years. I wanted to get into mortgage sales again, still pushing, but I had an opportunity to do insurance sales when I was in there, so I took that, did that, enjoyed that. Difference is kind of what I like to do, which is sales. I then went into, an opportunity came up in KBC. Now I was in KBC for a year, and at the end of coming to the end of my time in KBC, I wanted to do other things in finance, other types of business opportunities, other sales, sorry. And an opportunity came up in Ulster Bank, and this was in January 2008. January 2008. And I crossed over to Ulster Bank at a savings and investment manager role there. Mid-year through the conference, mid-year I lost my job in the July, and the crash happened. Financial crash happened at the beginning of September 2008. Now, I need to get back working, obviously. There was no jobs in finance in July 2008, so I got a job in Jackie Skelly Fitness. Literally, it was gym sales. 50% pay cut. I remember leaving on day one. I rang home and my then girlfriend, my now wife, says, don't come home unless you're keeping that job. You need to have a job. So I stayed at it. A couple of weeks in, my manager at the time had a lot of stuff going on himself personally, so he announced he was leaving. I spoke to the owner of the company, Mark Tugg. Mark's a good guy. Mark was very knowledgeable. Used to carry around a little notepad, literally a little notebook, and he used to keep all of his notes of the different facilities and gyms that he had. And I had a chat with Mark and said, look, give us a month as a sales manager. This is what I'd like to do. He said, you have a month I'll give you the month of October. Try to hit target. They'd never hit target in 7 years. That month, I happened to be going on holidays, and I was there for just over 3 weeks of the month. And subsequently, I was away, got a phone call, and had hit target. So for the first time, it had hit target since its opening kind of days, and that was a milestone. I then subsequently worked as a sales manager then for 2 years. Manager of the gym at the time was a guy called Keith. Keith's very good. He kind of a hard ass manager, but Keith knew his shit. He really did. He knew everything about standards and knew a vast amount about training. Didn't always get on, but I learned a lot from him through the role that I was doing as a sales manager, and he was a general manager. An opportunity then came up towards the back end of the last quarter of 2010 to go across. Obviously Jackie Skelly's went bang, Energy Fitness took it over. Back end of 2010, with Energy, I was able to move across to Newbridge and become general manager there. After 6 months, there was a kind of a restructure of managerial roles and different stuff, and I left Energy at the time. Subsequently spent a year, between 2011 and 2012, out of work. So that was kind of the height of the crash at that point in time, and that was a very challenging time, but I actually learned more about money, how to manage it when you don't have it at that point in time. And after a year, I tried to apply to loads of different jobs, and everyone I applied to was told the experience is too high, blah blah, can't pay you enough with your experience. So I ended up getting a job in Irish Nationwide, which was then called IBRC, and I went in there in mortgage administration, and after 4 or 5 months, I was asked to do a project on payment protection. Did that really well. I then got an opportunity to go into credit, into mortgage credit collections, mortgage arrears, and there is where I learned a huge amount about debt and financing and refinancing and managing debt and large loan books. And in that time, I did that for 7-8 months, say 6 months actually, and absolutely loved it. Smashed targets out of the water. Went really well. I remember the day I took the 7th of February off because it was my birthday, and I seen on the news that night that IBRC was liquidated. So back into work the next morning to find we had about 6 weeks left. So I finished about 6 weeks after that. This was now March, and I was getting married in June. So I got a job then, great place in Palmerstown Credit Union, superb place to work, great people, really settled into a role. For 4 years I was there, but in that time, in 2014, I set up Elite Irish Soccer Coach, and after that set up Elite Irish Speed for Sport Limited in 2016. So it was all done with the view that I would like to get into sport and coaching and football full time. Now, it's a difficult enough thing to manage to do, to get into sport full time in this country, and I was in the back of my mind: do I leave? Do I stay? Do I continue doing that? Do I continue working in finances? So I double jobbed. I was used to double jobbing because from 2008 to 2011 I also worked in the doors security in Maynooth. So I was used to that double work, long hours. So in the March of 2017, I decided time was enough to step away from Parmesan. Traffic was a pain driving in Maynooth, Lucan each day. So I got a role in Kilcock, again on the management team there, in the credit union, again doing a role which was overseeing the full loan book. I did that, and to be honest, after 8 or 9 months I'd done most of the work. The real tidy up had been done, and almost getting bored. So I came to the manager, CEO, great CEO Mike, and I said, look, I'd like to wind down my hours and maybe do 3 days a week, because there's really no point in me doing it full time because not enough work. So it's weird voluntarily cutting your hours. So I cut my hours, did the job, continued to do that, focused on my coaching business, focused on football, I still did my credit union stuff. By January I had decided, January 2018, that I was kind of getting the stage where I was looking to probably leave at some point over the coming months. So I spoke to Mike and said, look, I'm going to step away. This is probably in March. He said, can you stay till May? I said, yeah, I'll stay till May. May came. Can you stay till the end of June? End of June came. Then we agreed that I'd stay till the end of September to get somebody trained up. I stayed, and by the end of August I left